welcome to our CoSIDA Special Awards video tribute. Today we are honoring our distinguished 2020 and 2021 Jake Wade Award recipients. I'm Nick Guerrero, and I'm thrilled to speak to our most recent Jake Wade Award recipient today. The Jake Wade Award recognizes a media member who has made outstanding contributions to the field of intercollegiate athletics. The first person we will recognize is the 2020 award recipient, Ivan Maisel, award-winning national sports writer, accomplished storyteller, and author who has worked at Sports Illustrated, Newsday, ESPN, and brings to light and to life hundreds of stories from college athletics. And now, Ivan is joining On3, a new website that will focus on college sports and recruiting as the Vice President of Editorial and Senior Writer. Welcome, Ivan, and congratulations.
Nick, thanks a lot. I'm thrilled to receive this award. CoSIDA does such great work and has helped me untold times through a very long career, and this is a real thrill.
Telling the story of college athletics, particularly football, has been a focus of your award-winning career as you wrote and produced content across lots of platforms, including Newsday, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, the SEC Network, just to name a few. As you've covered college sports, you've worked with hundreds of sports information directors. We are privileged to work with you and to honor you with the Jake Wade Award. What does this honor mean to you?
Well, it's, and every time a bell rings, it means a coach returned your phone call. CoSIDA is, they're the direct connection for all of us. All of you help me and help all of us journalists do our work, and just a lot of shortcuts because of you, and to be recognized by all of you as somebody who did a job and did it well, and hopefully will continue to do it well. It just means a great deal to me. Everybody likes to be recognized for their work, and this is, I'm genuinely thrilled.
Also, we'd really like to congratulate you on your most recent honor, being inducted into the Alabama Sports Writers Association's prestigious Hall of Honor. Being born and raised in Mobile, Alabama, we know that recognition holds a special meaning. Let's talk a little bit about your career and work with athletic communications directors along the way. First, what makes the profession of sports reporting and sports writing so special to you?
I grew up in a family of storytellers. My fondest memories are sitting at a Thanksgiving dinner, at a Passover Seder, being surrounded by my father's siblings and hearing them tell stories of how they grew up in Mobile. And that's where I learned how to tell a story. And it really made an impression on me. And I combined that with a genuine love of sports from as far back as I can remember. I literally learned how to read through the sporting news and through the Mobile Register, sitting on laps. And from an early age, I was an inveterate baseball fan and college football fan, as anybody in Alabama is. And it just, the thrill of being able to do that for a living, still to this day, feels very special.
You've had thousands of interactions with college coaches and athletes and told just about as many stories in your career, told a lot of those stories. This might not be a fair question to ask for a short answer, but do you have any top memories or highlights that stand out during those interviews? Are there any particular stories maybe that you've done that have impacted you the most?
Well, sure. I can think, pertaining to how I grew up, I did a piece in 2007 when Florida State played Alabama. And for the first time in a very long coaching career, Bobby Bowden was going to coach against Alabama, the team he grew up rooting for. And I went down to Tallahassee and sat in his office and talked to him about what it was like to be a college football fan growing up in Birmingham. And that was just a wonderful, he was just really evocative of that time during the war. And in a long ago college football era. Personally, I think that I would say two other things. One was just a game story I did when Kansas State was upset by Baylor, I think in 2013. It was really the first time I sort of, and I had been doing this for a long time, but it was the first time I sort of trusted myself to not really worry about getting everything that happened in the game into the game story and just telling people what I thought was important. And if that seems obvious, it took me a long time to figure out I didn't have to tell everybody everything that happened. I just had to tell them what I trusted my voice to decide what was important. And then the other story, sorry, this was not a short answer, but the other story was a profile that I wrote on Mark and Kim Helinski, the parents of Tyler Helinski, a quarterback at Washington State who ended his life. And that hit very close to home to me. My son ended his life a couple of years earlier than that. And to be able to explain to readers what the Helinskis were going through and what this felt like, it meant a lot to me. And I felt like it would help the Helinskis and that it would help people in general who read it and could get a sense of what this was like.
Ivan, you're master at storytelling. The ability to tell the interesting story and draw out the person you were interviewing, both in art and as a skill. For all the SIDs listening and watching this, what advice can you give them to help them be better storytellers?
Two things. One, always end on the punchline. But honestly, Nick, if I get stuck, I just think, well, if I was going to call my brother and explain to him what I just saw, what's the first thing I would tell him? Or if I was going to, this interview I just got through doing, what's the first thing I would tell him? What was the coolest thing I heard? And that has gotten me out of plenty of jams sitting at this laptop. Shorter is always better than longer. It's harder, but it's better. And especially now, when people are, reading on this, you got to be quick. And people want to tell their story. That's the other thing. I would always advocate, and especially now to SIDs who are generating a lot of their own content or in charge of a staff generating content. People want to tell their stories. Kids want to tell their stories. It behooves them. It behooves the school. So get them out there and let us at them. And I'm always going to advocate for access.
Along those lines, what are some of the best ways an SID can assist the journalist today? There are emphasis on schools, being your own media, but working with and trusting local and national media must remain a priority for athletics relations staffs.
Well, I certainly hope so. And it's generating your own media puts SIDs in a odd position, because you're kind of competing against the people you're supposed to be helping. I don't know generally, what the attitude there is among SIDs. I've never really asked, but you are kind of wearing two hats. But I think the issues, whether you're generating your own media or helping us, are the same. And to me, it's, the kids, the student athletes are your best asset. And sometimes I know it's difficult to make a coach understand that, but get them out there, get them out in front of us. I'm concerned that the Zoom culture is going to, in some ways it's helpful, but I think by and large, we need to be in the same room with people. And I hope I hope that we go back to that format of in-person interviews, once the doctors tell us it's okay. Because I think, it makes all the difference in the world to be there, to see somebody in person. So I'm totally advocating that. But in general, just put them in front of us. Let's tell their stories.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Looking ahead, you have your most recent book to be published in October. This is a memoir of your relationship with your late son, Max. The memoir is entitled, "I Keep Trying to Catch His Eye." First, we offer our condolences to you and your family on the loss of Max a few years ago. Can you talk about the memoir and the work you've done as a member of the board of directors of the Jordan Porco Foundation, which works to prevent suicide and promote mental health amongst young adults?
Be delighted to. Thank you for asking. What brings up a great point. People who have lost children, people who have lost loved ones to suicide, the great secret is we want to talk about them. And part of writing the book was to describe Max so that he wouldn't be defined solely by how he died. I think part of it was to help people with grief, to explain at least how I learned to live with my grief, which essentially was once I understood that I had this much grief and this much pain because I had had that much love for Max, I just sort of in my head translated grief into love. And this is why I'm grieving so much. This was because I loved him so much. And once I sort of made that transition, it just sort of, I relaxed. I said, okay, I get it. And that's sort of the theme of the book is both to describe my relationship with a son who couldn't have cared less about sports, which was to me just hilarious. And also how I learned to live with the grief and with loss. And it's there every day. But you figure out that good things are still going to happen as well, and that your life isn't stopping. It's just changed dramatically. But if you keep living your life, bad things are going to happen and good things are going to happen. And hopefully by discussing that, it will help people not only who are grieving, but help people who are friends of people who are grieving.
Ivan, you've done so much for college athletics during your career, and we thank you again. Is there any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with our CoSIDA members and our sports writing colleagues today?
Nick, I'll tell you a quick story. I spoke at CoSIDA in Houston at least 30 years ago. And I brought an entire room to absolute quiet because I was being a brash, know-it-all, 29, 30-year-old sports writer. I went out and just said, look, all we need you to do is all I want you to do is return my phone calls. I'm going to handle everything else. Just return my phone calls, set up the interviews I ask you to do. That's really all I need. That's all we need. You do that, we'll be great. And I could just tell the whole room, like, who is this jerk? So the fact that y'all are giving me a career award means that there's been a lot of turnover in CoSIDA since I made that speech. So my formal apology for that attitude, my formal thank you with great gratitude for the Jake Wade. It means so much. And I wish we were there in person, but this is pretty nice.
Ivan, thank you so much for your time today. We all wish we could recognize with you in person for all your contributions to college athletics. Congratulations again on being the CoSIDA 2020 Jake Wade Award winner. When we come back, I'll have the 2021 Jake Wade Award winner, Gus Johnson. Welcome back to our CoSIDA Special Awards video tributes. I'm Nick Guerrero as we continue with our Jake Wade Award honors Let's welcome our 2021 honoree, Gus Johnson, play-by-play announcer for Fox Sports, most notably as its lead announcer for college football and college basketball. Again, the CoSIDA Jake Wade Award recognizes a media member who has made outstanding contributions to the field of intercollegiate athletics in media. Welcome, Gus, and a big congratulations to you. We are thrilled to honor you for your creative and passionate work in broadcasting college sports.
Well, thank you very much, Nick. I really appreciate it. And I just have to say, I'm so honored to be selected as the Jake Wade Award winner for 2021. I mean, by CoSIDA. The words just can't express how much gratitude I have to CoSIDA for selecting me for such a prestigious honor. Tell you what, man, I feel like as a college sports broadcaster, I just won the Heisman Trophy. So my name's on that list now. I can't take that back. So I really appreciate it. And it's such a neat thing, and I'm so honored to have a chance to be on the list with such great men and women.
As you've covered college sports, you work with hundreds of sports information directors. We are privileged to work with you and to honor you with the Jake Wade Award as you become the first HBCU graduate to receive this honor. What does this honor mean to you?
Yeah, it means everything. I mean, I started at Howard University as a college student, dreaming of just getting a job in broadcasting. And I've traveled all around the country working, traveled all around the world working. From my humble beginnings in Waco, Texas, Huntsville, Alabama, Greensboro, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., MSG, ESPN2, the Big East Network, CBS, the New York Knicks, now Fox. So just so many great opportunities, so many great life stories and lessons that I've learned, and to, know that after being on this journey for over 30 years now, and, at this particular point in my life, 53 years old, I'll be 54 in August, for CoSIDA to name me a Jake Wade Award winner. I mean, it makes me feel like I did something right, Nick.
Yeah, you've done a lot right. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. So that's how I feel about it, man. I wish my parents were alive to have seen something like this, because it's been a long journey and it's been a terrific journey. I wouldn't trade it in for anything in this whole world. And this award just tells me that, I've done some good things on my journey, and my journey is not complete.
Let me ask this one. What drives you as a TV broadcaster as you cover sports, particularly college football and basketball? What makes the profession of sports reporting so special to you? You were an athlete at Howard. You played baseball. You were destined to follow your career using your political science major, and then you changed into the broadcast world. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I think what makes it special, to answer your first question, is the people. It's always the people. It's like being around some of the, athletes that I've been around, being around the coaches that I've been around, being around the sports information directors that I've been around. It's been enriching for my life, because I've had a chance to meet people from all over the world, and I've met good people, salt of the earth type people. And to me, that's what I remember more than anything else. I mean, the games have been incredible, the sporting events themselves. But, when you look back on it, you just think about the good times, because they say time colors all memories. And I just got, all kinds of beautiful colors in my memories when it comes to, those little stories about things that only I know and I share with somebody else through sports. And like, for example, when I was a voice of the New York Knicks, I used to do the radio for them. And my son, when he was a little boy, 2 years old, 3 years old, would sit on my lap as I did the play-by-play. We have pictures of that. And to me, that's something that I'll never forget, and is a special moment in my life. And it's funny, I used to have him on my lap doing the play-by-play, and then under his breath, after a while, I could hear him trying to do it too. 4:50 to go in the first quarter. Here come the Knicks taking on the Nets. And Chris Childs walks it over the midcourt line. I would hear my son underneath it saying, Chris Childs walks it over the midcourt line. Passes right wing. Here's Derek Harper, feeds it inside to Ewing. Feeds it inside to Ewing, I would hear him say. Turn around, jump shot, Ewing, good. Turn around, jump shot, Ewing, good. I heard that. I still hear that in my head, and he's 18 years old now. So it's the stories and the people, man. And I think that's really what it's all about.
And out of 1,000 of those stories, you've interacted with college coaches and athletes. You might be one of just a handful of sports broadcasters who has his own YouTube tribute page showing some of your signature phrases, like one of my favorites, rise and fire. You've built quite the repertoire of calls and signature phrases. Just talk a little bit about like what that means to you, the fact that like you just talked about, going back and doing the Knicks games and your son, but, fans out there, people out there that you've been able to tell stories about. What does that mean, especially in the college athletics world?
Well, college is everything because these kids are kids. They're between 18 and 22 years old, and they say the human brain doesn't fully develop. Excuse me, got some wind here. The human brain doesn't fully develop until about 22. So for a man, that probably means 40. So we're watching kids play, and they go into the games, with so many hopes and dreams and aspirations, wanting to do well for their families, their school, themselves. And that means everything. Just being a part of people's lives. You can't get enough of that. In my life, because I've been doing this for such a long time now, I get people that come up to me, like a guy like you that you said today, which I thought was really funny. You said, yeah, man, I remember listening to you call the Knicks games way back, or not even just the Knicks games, the MSG Sports Desk way back in 1994. And I said, Nick, how old are you? 35. 1994, how old were you, Nick?
7 or 8.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You were 7 or 8. Now you're a grown man and, doing well. So just to have an effect or an impact on somebody else's life. I mean, I'm not a perfect person. Nobody is. So I make mistakes when I do games all the time, every game. But my goal has always been to just delight in the excellence of other people. And if I can do that, I think, I'll do a good job, because I want to pull out all the virtues of our kids, especially on the college side. They're trying hard. Nobody wants to mess up. Nobody wants to do anything wrong. And it happens sometimes. But all in all, I think that our young people are a bright light, and they tell us that our future is very bright and in good hands.
Now, this may not be a fair question to be short on, but do you have a favorite moment or highlight that stands out to you during one of your broadcasts of college athletics? Are there any particular stories that you've done that maybe have impacted you the most?
Well, yeah, I do have some favorite moments. One of my favorite moments is my first big moment. It was in 1996. We were at the RCA Dome in downtown Indianapolis doing the NCAA tournament, and Princeton was playing UCLA. UCLA at that time was the defending national champions. And Princeton, they had some guys on that team that played some incredible team ball. Sidney Johnson, Mitch Henderson,
Coached by Pete Carrill.
Yeah, Pete Carrill was the head coach. And they played their best game, hit big shots, and in the end won it in their signature way, which was a backdoor cut for a basket. Gabe Lewellis was the man's name that made the basket. I hear he's a big time surgeon now or something like that. That's one moment that really stands out. Secondly to that, I would say Gonzaga, Florida, the slipper still fits. Isaiah Thomas hitting the jump shot to win the Pac-10 championship years back for Washington against Arizona. So those are some moments that really resonate to me. On the field, Ohio State beating Wisconsin in 2014 to become Big Ten champions. Cardale Jones hadn't started a game all year. He came in because JT Barrett and Braxton Miller were hurt, and he played the game of his life, and they went on to win the national championship. So those are the things that I think about, some of the moments that really, but I've had so many. I call the 1998 Olympics in Nagano, Japan, Winter Olympics, the bobsled and the luge. So those are the things that I think about, but there's so many, man. I could sit here and talk to you about it all day.
Gus, you in your industry and as a broadcaster, you rely heavily on the athletics communications professionals to give you great stories, behind the scene access, and news to enhance your broadcast. If you could create the perfect SID, what skills and strengths would that SID have to help you and your broadcast partner tell the very best story and help you deliver a great broadcast?
I got to be honest with you. I've been in college sports for a long time. I think every SID I've met has been pretty much the perfect SID, because the men and women that work in the sports information departments on the college and the pro side are so professional. They want the best for their programs, their players, their coaches. And I think the most important thing is just communication, just stories. Tell me the story. I'm not worried about the stats as much. The stats I can read, but give me something about these kids that will resonate with the viewers, whatever it is, whether it be big or something small. And these guys, these men and women that are SIDs, especially on the college side, they go out of their way to help highlight the young men and women that are playing in these games. And I think that just the communication and the storytelling is the most important thing. And also pronunciations. They go over for a lot of pronunciations.
You've done so much for college athletics during your career, created so much excitement and interest in your broadcast, and we thank you again. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our CoSIDA members today?
Final thoughts. Like I said, I just want to say thank you. I just want to tell you how much gratitude I have. This is a big deal for me. This is a major deal for me to be recognized by my peers, to be recognized by the men and women that see me every day when I come into town to do a game. They're telling me that I'm working hard, and I want to say thank you for that. They're telling me that something that I've done is resonating with the college world, and that's more important to me than anything, to have an impact on young people, to be perceived as a good person, as a role model. And winning something like this is something that I never expected. It's something that I never even dreamt of. And for it to, when I look at the list of the people that are on, when I look at the names rather of the people that are on this list, I mean, Keith Jackson, Jim Nance, Tim Brando, Vern Lundquist, Robin Roberts, Beth Mowens, most recently, Ivan Maisel. I mean, these are Dick Enberg. I mean, Nick, I can't tell you how appreciative I am. I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Ed Hill, who was my sports information director at Howard University, and he spearheaded this effort to get me in front of CoSIDA for Jake Wade. I also want to thank Coach Sandra Tyler. When I was at Howard University as a student and I discovered play-by-play, we had a remote component that you would take it, phone jack, bam. And that's how we broadcast through the dorms. And I went up to her, and I didn't know anything about play-by-play, nothing, but I knew I wanted to do it. And I went up to her after I had started working for the student radio station, and I asked her if I could broadcast her games. And she said yes. And she took me all over the Mideastern Athletic Conference, the MEAC, covering the Lady Bison. And from that point on, I was hooked. I mean, hooked. I mean, I knew that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And it was a gift. It was a blessing from God that I had people like Ed Hill, Coach Sandra Tyler, a man named Glenn Harris, who I interned for WHUR Radio, who's like a father figure to me, who taught me everything I know. A man named Steve Buckhantz, who was my first television boss at WTTG Channel 5. And then I later worked with him as I was his weekend anchor, sports anchor. So it's the people, man. It's always the people that make the difference. I just want to thank everybody that helped me and has been rooting for me to be a success, including my parents, Augustine and B. Troy Johnson, my mother and my father. And like I said, man, I wish they were here to see this because I know they'd be very, very proud.
And now you can put Gus Johnson's name on the Jake Wade Award. Gus, thank you so much for your time today. We wish we could recognize you in person for all your contributions to college athletics. Congratulations again on being the 2021 CoSIDA Jake Wade Award winner.
That's me, right?
That's you.
I'm the 2021 CoSIDA Jake Wade Award winner, right?
That you are.
Boom. So I guess I did rise and fire, eh?
Can I get from the corner?
That's right. From the corner, from the parking lot. How about that? Thank you.